the video that I've been waiting to watch for the very long time. By very long time, I mean, wow, has it been 2 weeks? I think it's more because I haven't refreshed the page. When was this released?
Well, I already...
Okay, 2 weeks ago, never mind. Alright, so we're gonna get started with this guy. Necrit, so I guess I haven't watched the video in a while, is very optimistic. The real reason Riot MMO is set up for success. Now, is it set up for success? Probably. There's a lot of history. There's a shit ton of players that are interested in the world of Runeterra. Between TFT, League of Legends, and Valorant. I hope they would do something in the MMO that incorporates all of those. I don't know if Valorant is actually in the world of Runeterra, but you can easily do like a collab, you know, collaboration between the games, which is really cool. So is it set up for success? Yes. Will it be successful? That remains to be seen, and let's see what Necrit has to say about it.
Well, I already made 4 MMO videos, and at the end of the last one, I said that would be my last one. Because up until that point, I was simply showing people what already exists. Going past that point would be pure theory crafting. But no one said I can't talk about something that people already talked about. Okay,
true.
Not entirely. You see, a lot of people mention some good and big reasons why Riot's MMO is set up for success. I will repeat some of those points in this video. But the reason why I decided to talk about this topic as well is because as someone who has been with Riot Games for over a decade, I know their patterns of behavior. I know their entire past when it comes to monetization, and that means all the good stuff and the bad stuff. I know their past when it comes to their game's success. And I know what they do when things don't go well. And some of these points tell us a lot about how Riot's MMO is shaping up. On top of all of this, Canon had the exclusive interview with Ghostcrawler, where we got quite a few golden nuggets, which includes a line that pretty much tells us that, yeah, Riot is gonna go through with the MMO.
One of the nice things about Riot is we're not going to run out of money, right? I'm not going to have a publisher that's like, hey, if you got to ship by Christmas or we're canceled. Riot will cancel this game if the game isn't good enough.
Like I said in my react to this video, Riot is what feels very close to what Blizzard used to be. We'll ship it when it's ready. Obviously, you can debate this regarding League of Legends, but when Valorant was released, there were a few bugs, but it was pretty much ready game, right? There hasn't been like that many changes, maybe some balances, but the game was pretty much ready on release. League of Legends was ready on release. Even the beta was ready on release, right? TFT was ready on release. Now that's like probably like not that, you know, it was ready on release. I think their auto chess, or not that was the card game, which is Legends of Runeterra, I believe, was ready on release, right? So it's like they're releasing games when they're ready and not like buggy messes like every WoW expansion. So in that regard, I would say Riot is very, very similar to what Blizzard used to stand for.
I can cancel the game because it gets too expensive. And
this sounds great. So after combining all of this,
take your time and make it.
A new
the fuck is this shit?
The real reason why Riot's MMO is set up for success. Let's start with all the things that we already know about. Perhaps the biggest reason for Riot being on the right path is already having a loyal following. When World of Warcraft launched for the first time, there were lines forming up around entire blocks.
And
why was that?
So here's the thing. Elder Scrolls had a massive following too. ESO didn't do as well. So that is not really the best indicator. Same with like Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy has had a massive following since forever, but Final Fantasy XIV on release, and 11, by the way, which was still around, is still around. Final Fantasy XIV on release, not that good, right? So to say that that is an indicator, no. However, it is true that the only successful MMOs out there, aside from like Guild Wars 2, which you can consider to be successful MMORPG in this category, because like you can say, well, Lost Ark is a successful MMORPG. Yeah, but it's more of like an action MMORPG. It's not like I want like an actual MMORPG, you know, third-person view, all that stuff, right? Which is like Final Fantasy, Guild Wars, ESO, Riot MMO. I'm hoping, you know, Aeon, Archage, Black Desert Online, all that stuff. But the most successful ones, the ones with the most following, the one with the most people playing, are usually the ones that also have already a massive following. Star Wars: The Old Republic, in my opinion, is also one of those. I wouldn't say it's as successful as Warcraft is, but you know what I mean, right? It's like having that following to begin with is a massive boon to an MMORPG because people are already involved in the world and they get to see it in a sense firsthand. For example, you heard the story about, let's say, some things like, let's say, when Darth Vader turned evil, and you get to do a quest that leads to that event, makes you feel like, man, I really want to do this quest, right? I really want to see it happening as if like I had something to do with it, right? Getting people involved in the story and like playing out a story that they already know is very, very unique to a lot of people. For example, Geralt meeting Ciri in Witcher 3 was so fucking good because I read the books for Witcher and I was like, oh my god, like when he meets her, you know, it's like his daughter in a sense, right? And it's like, man, I was like, oh, so good, you know, when she like pretends to be dead. Well, not pretends, her soul was not there. Then she wakes up and grabs him. Oh my god, man. No, shit like that.
Well, first of all, it's
like
because
that.
digital purchasing was not a thing. But
Yeah.
more importantly, because people knew the Warcraft universe from the other games.
Yep.
And they knew Blizzard as a great developer.
Yep.
Of course, Riot is riding the same wave.
100%.
Hopefully with a different destination. People know League's universe from League of Legends.
Yeah.
And Riot is essentially where Blizzard used to be. They are known for their great games, exactly as
Bro, smart man. Smart man. It's exactly what I said.
Blizzard used to be. They are known for taking a game idea, polishing it,
Yep.
and making it better than its inspiration.
Yep.
Exactly as Blizzard used to be. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, if you're a fan of MMOs and you don't know much about Riot games, you might be surprised to see all the successful games they have released. Of course, League of Legends launched as the better, simpler version of the
Of Dota.
mod
Yep.
from Warcraft 3.
True.
Nearly 10 years later, Riot launched their second game, Teamfight Tactics,
Which was,
a new
yeah.
version of the auto chess from Dota 2. And once again, using characters people already know and love from League, Teamfight Tactics dominated its competition. And it
Yes.
now remains as the only
Now, I
big
said this
and
before. Technically, they did, but also the genre was somewhat hidden, very new, and Dota did absolutely no publicity for their game. I didn't even know about the Dota game. So like, did they win this competition? 100%. Yeah, no, like, they're like, TFT is way better probably, or like at least more well known, probably has more players than the Dota game. Yes, 100%. But there isn't also much of a competition. You know, it's like it was a very new genre. You know, no one really plays Dota. I'm sorry, but you know, it's like, yeah, they had a massive advantage. Now, is this game better than the Dota one? I don't know. It does look smoother though, based on like just this footage of like the Dota game, the Dota TFT and this TFT, Auto Chess, whatever, Dota Auto Chess and TFT. TFT does look smoother and a bit more appealing than the Dota game. Yes, the Dota game looks very square. This one looks more fluid, and I think people like fluid more.
still growing auto chess game on the market.
Yeah.
Then we got the third game, a card game using
Which-
League characters called Legends
Now
of
this
Runeterra.
one, I would give them massive credit, and I was wrong before. Apparently, this game has way more people playing than Hearthstone, and I believe the reason is not only because Riot did very good with this game, but because Hearthstone is doing very poorly with its game and how they're monetizing their decks. As far as I know, Riot is not monetizing the decks nearly as close as what Blizzard is doing with Hearthstone.
From all of the Riot's games, Legends of Runeterra is the only game that didn't fully dominate its game genre.
Yeah.
That's because card games already have a very narrow audience.
Yep.
And digital card games slowed down their growth. But on top of that, it is hard to pull someone away from their card game if they already spent money on it.
Yes.
However, despite that,
But they did
Legends
really
of
good.
Runeterra still managed to match Hearthstone. So these
Which
two
is
are
probably
still
the number
battling for
one.
dominance, with
Yeah.
the other card games being very close. After this, we got Valorant, a new player-friendly version
Instead of Counter-Strike, yeah.
or at least new player-friendly compared to Counter-Strike, which is also using iconic characters for marketing.
Yep.
Even this game managed to dominate the tactical shooter genre, and now it is
But
doubling the
again,
numbers
and
of their
again, that being said, Counter-Strike is filled with hackers at multiple skill levels, and it's basically the only competitor to it, and I feel like Counter-Strike has been on the decline since forever, except when there's a competition. That being said, Counter-Strike is extremely popular, especially in Europe, like Russia. It is extremely popular for how long it's been around. Valorant did take a very good opportunity here and took over this market. Yes, I don't know if that has twice the player base as Counter-Strike, but it did do pretty well, though I feel like, I don't know, like, it feels like a more niche shooter compared to like other shooters, you know, like Battlefield and COD.
two main competitors,
Which is good.
Rainbow Six Siege and Counter-Strike. But
Yes.
then, after Valorant, Riot went
I'm not
back
gonna
to
lie, Rainbow Six Siege, even though it is tactical, feels more COD with like a smaller map and like some abilities than it feels like Counter-Strike. Even though they're like technically the same genre, it just like feels different. I played a bit of Siege and like the feel is completely different to what Counter-Strike is. Honestly, I can't even call Counter-Strike tactical at this point, to be honest, because it's just a camp farm, and like people know exactly the routes and just wait at specific spots every fucking map.
MOBAs. They looked at Mobile Legends Bang Bang,
Which is the same
that's the real
company.
name, by the way.
Yeah.
They realized it was essentially a League of Legends on mobile, and they realized,
Fuck it. Wild
why
Rift.
don't we do that? But better.
Yep.
And so Riot released League of Legends Wild Rift, a mobile version of League of Legends, which in many ways could be regarded as even better than League of Legends on PC. I mean, look
it
at
has,
all those
yes.
polygons. That's running on a phone.
The reason this one is better than PC, the games last substantially they're substantially shorter. The game itself is pretty smooth. You level up way faster. The ultimates come at level 4 or 5, not at 6. I think it's level 5, yeah. Not at 6. I think max level is 15. The game is just substantially faster. If you're losing hard, you're gonna lose very fast. Like, I had a game that lasts like 8 minutes, right? It's like, it just feels better, less time wasted, and like you're not as angry because it's a faster match. It's like playing a 40-minute league game and losing feels way worse than playing an 8-minute game and losing. It's like, whatever, we'll go next, right? It's like I didn't invest as much time. So, yeah.
On top of that, even though it is a mobile game, it is using fairly standard monetization. And
Yes.
right now, while Wild
Mad
Rift
respect
is
for that.
dominating in the West, Mobile Legends Bang Bang is still dominating in the East. and
It's
some
been a while
countries.
longer.
So Riot is currently in the process of dominating the game genre. But
Yeah.
Riot did not end here. They recognized that people wanted to play more games with their League of Legends characters. And so they launched Riot Forge, a smaller publishing studio that is working with indie developers to make games with their
Oh,
IP.
yeah.
And here we already got 2 games. Hextech Mayhem is a League of Legends spin on the rhythm-based Bitrunner, a 30-minute
Okay.
game which I have about 10 hours in, and Ruined
30.
King, which is about 40-hour-long RPG that is telling a
bad.
canon story from the universe. Also, you can find me here.
You may simply call me
Oh, Necrit.
Necrit.
That's me! But in 2023, we are also expecting 2 more games. Song of Nunu, which seems to be an adventure platformer taking place in the harsh Freljord, and Convergence, a 2D action platformer in Piltover that seems to be lining up really well with Arcane 2. Both
they're
of these
killing
games
it.
were delayed from 2022 to 2023. Because, guess what?
MMO.
No, it's not crunch time. It's because Riot Games actually care about their games. With the two already...
Hi everyone, we know you've all been waiting patiently for news on our upcoming titles, Convergence and Song of Nunu. While we are so excited about the progress of both games, we're going to need a little more time. I need a little more time to put on some finishing touches. Right now, both games are scheduled to release sometime in 2023, and we'll be sure to provide more updates as soon as we are ready. The next-gen version of Ruined King, a League of Legends story, is also still in development and will be ready sometime in 2023. PS4 and Xbox owners will be able to upgrade their copy for free. Respect. Thank you for all your patience and support as we do. Yeah, Riot is literally what Blizzard could have been, you know? It's like Riot... hands down, I was like fucking like like they would get a standing ovation. Like Riot is doing really good by the players.
already released Riot Forge titles, scoring
Don't get me wrong,
and
I'm not sucking on Riot's tit, okay? However, for a player, they show like, are there bad decisions in League of Legends, for example? Yes, many of them, right? Is the game perfect? Fuck no, okay? There's like, I have many issues and like, I really hate their like, their banning system and all that stuff. That being said, like their, you know, their reports and all that shit, it's like you can get banned for like absolutely nothing. That being said, they are doing right by the players. The only problem is they are encouraging players to never communicate with one another because they will get banned if they do. So
80% of overall positive feedback. So the takeaway from this is, yes, Riot has a history of nearly flawless game releases. They have not seriously flopped yet. And their monetization practices are not too far away from this.
And they're all
In
free,
Cannon's
basically.
interview, Ghostcrawler straight up mentioned they will not sell player power.
We're not going to do pay to win. We're not going to do pay to power. I'm pretty confident saying that.
Good.
What the
That's
business
big. That's a big one.
I probably said that, or a lot of players that say that. It's just not Riot's style.
Right.
We really
Yeah.
want players to feel like they're welcome back in the game at any time. And yeah, if life is rough right now and you're between jobs or you just can't, you know,
That's for
you can't
the
pay for
sub.
subscription, I'd rather them not, you know, not churn out rather than be able to keep playing. So that's why Riot has traditionally liked
It would
free-to-play
be
with purely.
It would be amazing if the Riot MMO, dude, if the game costs money, I'm totally fine with, but it won't have a subscription. And if they do have subscription, it won't be mandatory. It would add like some nice little boons. They're not a big deal. Similar to ESO, but just not as big of a deal because ESO, like you kind of want subscription if you're playing religiously. That being said, you know, like ESO probably has the best sub compared to others because it is a free-to-play, well, buy-to-play game. But yeah, if Riot goes like completely free-to-play, game is free, no sub, and only cosmetics, yeah, they're blowing shit out of the water, like just by the monetization practice.
Cosmetic purchases.
I just
As
find
you
really
heard,
hard to do.
Ghostcrawler didn't even approach it as big news. He just casually dropped this piece of info because that's a given at Riot Games.
Yep.
Now
Respect.
I know what you might be thinking. In the past, some other developers from some other studios said
I don't think WoW ever said that about removing the sub or free to play. I think they said something about the shop. StarCraft 2 is selling champions on the shop for the co-op commander, but honestly, StarCraft 2 is a free game completely aside of that, so not a big deal. This one, Heroes of the Storm, what did they even monetize? I mean, no, you could play any champion, I believe, right? Just the skins were... Yeah, I believe Heroes of the Storm was fine in terms of monetization. It was completely free, a free game, and I think you just got all the champions right away. Overwatch, I mean, fucking Battle Pass in Overwatch
Said
2.
they wouldn't do it. Until the moment they did it.
Yeah.
So what makes this different for Ghostcrawler? Well, you see, this is simply how Riot operates. And if you need a proof, look no further than Riot's future game known as Project L. Project L is a league-based fighting game.
Oh my god,
and Riot
bro.
is making sure...
Well, the other thing is, like, the best example for this is Mobile Legends. Sorry, not Mobile Legends, Jesus Christ. Wild Rift. Wild Rift is the best example to tell you if Riot will hardcore monetize something or not. If Wild Rift is not a pay-to-win game, I'm sorry, like, they made a mobile game that, like, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to be good at, then, yeah, like, I don't expect to make an MMORPG where pay-to-win would be a thing.
The fighting game genre is yet another genre dominated by Riot Games. And in their
Is it?
latest dev
I've
update,
never
they
seen this game.
mentioned the exact same thing.
We want you to be able to play no matter where you live, what your skill level is, or how much money you have to spend on a game. To that,
Respect.
I'm happy to confirm that Project L will be free to play.
Nice.
If you've played a Riot game before, this probably won't come as a surprise. Our team is made
Yeah.
up of fighting game veterans and folks who are passionate about serving the FGC. And we operate with one approach. If we wouldn't like it, we won't do it.
Nice.
When it comes to monetization, we promise to be respectful of both your time and your wallet.
Respectful of both your time and wallet. Theoretically, this doesn't exclude buying power. Anyway, what this means...
Theoretically, yeah, but they usually don't do it. Also, in a fighting game, what kind of power can you really buy? I mean, it should be pretty equal footing because it's a 1v1. The only thing I really don't like seeing is skins that cost more than $5. I don't think any skin, no matter how dedicated, how like cool the skin is, should never cost more than $5. And a lot of skins in Riot cost more, in League of Legends cost more than $5. So, you know, like some cost 15 straight out. Some I think even, yeah, some cost me $20. Yeah, like the Kassadin skins, Cosmic Kassadin I think was like, well, I had to spend 20 because you couldn't buy the right amount of Riot points with 15. Oh, sorry, with 10, so I was like, whatever. But yeah, that's the only skin I was like, okay, I'll buy this with real money, but I did feel bad buying it.
is that Project L will most likely run exactly like League of Legends. You play the game for free to unlock fighters, but you can also buy them directly. Now, because they mentioned that they will be respectful of your time, hopefully the grind won't be that awful. I assume it will be something similar to Valorant, where you can unlock each new character every week. Not one character per month, as some games are doing it now. I mean, it's the same studio, they can just pass over the numbers and see what worked. And because they mentioned your wallet, I assume the skins won't be as pricey as Valorant. Speaking of which, let's talk about the overall monetization at Riot Games and what it means.
I feel like it's the dumbest thing to buy skins for weapons in a shooting game. It's like you barely see the weapon. It's like buying skins for your character in a game where you can't even see your character. Buying skins in like an ARPG, like paying for cosmetics in an ARPG, aside from like wings because you can really see them, is like, no one cares how you look in an ARPG. It's not what the game is about. Selling cosmetics there is like, oh, whatever, who cares?
For Riot's MMO. Besides the indie titles, which are standalone games, every Riot game is a free-to-play game, which run on skins and time-saving monetizations.
Online
now, when I
and
say
free.
Time-saving monetizations, you may jump to the
XP
conclusion
buff.
that even time-saving is indirectly buying power. However, that really depends on what you are buying, and in Riot's case, I can confirm it is not pay to win. But before we get to that, let's quickly talk about the skins. In League, Riot struck a good balance, with most champion skins being
$15
between
a skin.
5 and $10, with the vast majority of them having unique spell effects. And occasionally you can buy the massive $20 skins, which change up the entire animations of the champions. All of that is fairly standard, nothing crazy here. But I have to say, as I mentioned in my last video, it seems like Riot is shifting their focus away from League. But while their focus is going to the other projects, they have to keep the monetization going. So these days, League is actually getting less gameplay content than we did a few years ago. But we are still getting the same amount of skins. This means that because the vast majority of the content is skins these days, it seems like skins are dominating everything else. And I find it funny that you can connect this to what Ghostcrawler said in the interview about monetization.
To look at League of Legends, for example, if we stopped making champions and just kept making skins, at some point players are like, well, this kind of sucks. You're only focused on the money-making side of the game. So you need to do both. You need to make sure the game balance is good. You need to update everything that you can in order for players to feel good about it.
Yes, it kind of feels like League is in this situation right now. In Teamfight Tactics, you can do the same thing. You can buy a skin for a little commander on the battlefield which you control, which is called Little Legend. These are always on the cheaper side, with some more expensive alternatives which also have unique execute animations when you defeat an enemy. However, every Little Legend also has a legendary variation, which you can only get from eggs. And eggs are essentially loot boxes. And the amazing thing is, the TFT team realized that these loot boxes are bad. And after their first year, they allowed you to buy any Little Legend directly. Of course, it is possible that government with their anti-gambling pressured them into this. But as far as we know, there were no lawsuits and they did it themselves. And since people trust them on this, if anything, it shows you their reputation. TFT also offers their Battle Pass, which to this day has perhaps the best value out of any pass in any game. However,
like $5 or $10.
Teamfight Tactics also has the arena skins. Because these are a massive chunk of landscape, of course they are a bit pricier than normal models. But the unfortunate part is that sometimes they also offer the legendary arenas, which go for up to $200.
Jesus Christ.
And I say up to because these arenas are a randomized drop. It is guaranteed to drop from egg number 60, which is around the $200 mark. But since you can get it earlier, you are essentially rolling for a discount. When Riot first announced this, I was shocked. I simply didn't expect it. But then Mordog, the lead TFT developer, talked about it on his stream. And I realized I was wrong. Because TFT is so free to play, by which I mean you can't go more free to play without giving people money back. I mean, while in other games you grind for new characters or something
it
like
is
that.
really
From
free
the
to
moment
play.
you log into TFT, everything is unlocked. And
yeah, there's absolutely nothing for you to actually grind TFT aside from playing for fun and if you want to give money. Yeah, so like, it makes sense. I mean, like, this legendary whatever board, it's like, okay, that's cool, but like, you know, this doesn't do anything for the game at all. So it doesn't really matter. If you want to spend the money, go for it, right? I'm totally fine with them monetizing like this. The game is so free. You literally just log in and play. Like, I can log into Riot right now on a brand new account that has nothing on it, log in and get into a TFT game within a minute because the queue is really fast. Yeah, there's like, and there's nothing in the game that you can't do that someone else can because they've been around for longer, aside from knowing what the fuck they're doing.
you get the full experience.
Yeah.
Even in League, that's not the case. Because of that,
True.
he mentioned that there are people who want to spend money on TFT, but they can't. Because in this game, you only have one Little Legend, so you technically only need one skin. Once you have the one skin you like, you don't need anything else.
Yep.
So, the team wanted to give the whales some food to support the game. And if you still feel like this was a greedy move, just listen to what Mordog has to say about it. For context, he is gonna mention Kai'Sa, and Kai'Sa is one of the $200 skins.
Obviously, TFT has to make money to succeed, right? And
Yes,
so we have
makes
these
sense.
expensive cosmetics that people want. That being said, if you don't have money, it can feel left out, and I agree with you. So typically what you have to do is you have to look for the opportunities to find something kind of comparable, and there will be opportunities. You're not going to be able to get everything, but for example, during events, there's going to be ones that are more accessible. You might get lucky and get one during an egg. It's also the kind of thing where, like, let's say you really like Dragon Chibimancer Kaisa. Who knows? In 2 years, it may come back in a thing that's a promotion and be a little easier to get, you know, as time goes on. You never know. And so you have to find your moment where you can get the thing you enjoy rather than, you know, you have to have the new now. And unfortunately, like a lot of things in life, money counts and it sucks when you don't have money. It really does. And I know that. I've been there. So that's my honest answer. Hopefully that was genuine enough.
I have never seen a dev so open about a massive, almost corporate level game. But yes, if anything, this shows you that Riot is trying to be fair about their prices. Lastly, when it comes to skins,
and
we
at the
have to
very
mention-
least, not just Riot, but the devs also realize how the devs are talking about direct. Like, for example, take a Blizzard interview about monetization, and it's like he gives you like a lawyer answer. It's like, bro, just fucking tell me, like, why is it like, you know, are you gonna do more transmogs? Like, you know, how come you are releasing all these like new mounts with new animations on the shop, unable to get them in game? Which, by the way, all the skins pretty much you can get in game. There's a chance that you can get a skin in game, right? Without paying. It's just gonna take you a very long time to grind, but you can get them in game. Okay? So that being put aside, in World of Warcraft, you have the store. They have a completely unique. Right now, there's a transmog. They're probably going to add more transmogs later. I'm sure the community wasn't happy about the first one. More transmogs later. They have all these mounts. They have mounts that have unique animations for their specials, right? And you can't get these in game. But it's also a sub game, and you pay to pay for the game. I did the math. It's like here. Let me see. Let's say bare minimum, right? So you have $15. This is US dollars, by the way. 15 times 24 plus the expansion. So $420. You're paying $420 every 2 years, right? Divide by 2, you pay 210. I mean, technically, 240 for the first year, right? Plus all the cosmetics in the shop. By the way, the cosmetics are like $15 each. If you have 3 cosmetics, that's $45, right? So like, yeah, the monetization, like, I'm comparing Blizzard on purpose because it's the game I'm playing right now. But like, Final Fantasy is not much better. Final Fantasy is a pay to play and monthly subscription, and the cosmetics there cost like a shit ton. It's like the wedding suit or whatever is like $15. Like, why? Why the fuck? It's not even like special animations, right? There's the suit with the angel wings, like, or the devil, whatever, black or white. Also, like $15. Like, why? Why is it $15? Doesn't do anything. It's just like it's an attire.
Valorant. Because Valorant is perhaps their most aggressive monetization.
Oh.
There, a normal recolor of a gun is about $10, with a full new model going for about 20. On top of that, melee
about the same
weapons,
as League.
so for example knives, are double the price.
Really?
So, for a unique model on a knife, that would be $40. And
Oh.
on top of that, sometimes you get bundles of special weapons with unique finishers that go for up to $100.
That's fucked
The
up.
logic behind this pricing is that for each gun you are only going
But-
to buy one skin.
Sure, but also, isn't the game like also similar to TFT, extremely free to play? I don't remember if you. Oh no, you. Do you need to unlock champions? I don't remember if you need to unlock champions, because I remember like I want a certain champion, I could play it right away, but maybe I just did something and gave me an option to choose my operator champion, whatever. Yeah.
So once you buy a skin, you are unlikely to get another one. There is no gambling involved anywhere around Valorant.
That's good.
It is very much unlike Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So at least the monetization is not predatory per se. That said, it is still pretty high.
It is,
Now,
yeah.
that was all the notable skin monetization. It's fairly standard and sometimes the prices can go higher. However, remember, we are still talking about purely free-to-play games. So,
Yep.
let's talk about the potential pay-to-win. For Riot, the worst offender of this could be skipping grinds and buying characters. We can find this in League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, and Valorant. In Legends of Runeterra you can buy cards, but no one ever does that because the game gives you so many
That's
free
why I
cards
was-
you
yeah.
really don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
In fact, the game is notoriously so fair it is struggling to make money.
Yeah,
In
makes
Valorant
sense.
you can unlock a new character every week if you really grind. Realistically, it is a new character every 2 weeks. And in League you can buy champions directly, which could have been translated into power in the past. However, unlike in Overwatch, where picking heroes in the middle of the game can decide the game,
Yeah.
and where the game is balanced around
Yeah.
counterpicking, in League, that's not really the case anymore. A few years back, the game was balanced around hard counterpicking being a thing. But these days, Riot is trying to make sure that's not a thing for a very obvious reason. Unlike in Overwatch, in League, you lock
Unless you play Kassadin first pick, then you get fucked with the Renekton mid and Nasus mid, any top laner mid really. And like, okay, what the fuck am I gonna do now? But yeah, there's most champions don't have hard counter picks, but some still do, and those ones, Kassadin specifically, really need a rework to be able to deal with hard counter picks. The problem is with the Kassadins, like, if he doesn't get hard counter picked, he does scale pretty hard. Even though, like, right now, he doesn't feel that strong, even if you get, like, fed. I'm just saying, like, he doesn't really feel anywhere near what he used to do.
in your champion
Specifically
for an
Season
entire
3.
game. So if you get hard counterpicked, you are not gonna have fun for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To combat this, Riot is slowly removing hard counterpicks from the game. And now you may have a slight advantage, but in general, any champion can win against any champion.
Liar.
Because of this, if you look at the players at the very top of the ladder, you may realize that all of them are playing one champion. So in League, if you buy a champion, you don't buy power.
Unless
because
Kassadin.
owning other champion won't affect how your game is going. But you buy the option to try out other characters. With
Yeah.
that said, I should mention that League currently has over 160 champions. And the game is giving you a lot of champions for free to
Oh, yeah.
compensate.
Easy.
And again, it is free to play. But there is one more thing I need to mention. While Riot is built on a strictly not pay-to-win monetization, there was a time when you could buy power. This dark age will scare even the most powerful veteran
Was there?
players. Of course, I'm talking about
Oh, the runes.
runes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
for the
runes.
first 7 years in League's history up until 2017, besides buying champions,
Though honestly, I never had an issue with this. It is true that this is a pay to win thing, but the way I countered this, I made multiple accounts, and by the time you get to the point where you're playing ranked, you would have the rune page you wanted. So then it's like, if I want to play a Kassadin, I'll go on this account. If I want to play what's called Israel, I would go on that account. It wasn't that big of a deal, but yeah, I can see that.
with
It is
the
technically
in-game
pay to win.
currency, you also had to buy runes. Runes were basically sockets. They gave you tiny bonuses like 0.1 attack damage
Was really fun.
or 1% crit. Of course, 1% crit was ridiculously overpowered,
Yeah.
because all you needed was that one rune that gave you 1% crit chance. Because
My favorite set was actually movement speed. It was like armor, ability power, armor, and movement speed. And I think maybe cooldown some, but like the three big ones were movement speed. This was I want to say this might have been magic pen. This was all armor, and this was ability power. Or honestly, I think I went double ability power, movement speed, and armor. Because every time I played Kassadin back then was like a Z mid, a Talon, whatever. Like, it was always like an 80 mid. And the funniest thing is, I would start with like 45 AP on a Kassadin. Bruh. The Q poke was insane. Plus, it was a silence way back when, right? It was really fun. This is probably why Kassadin was like so fucked up. Way back when, it was like you could really abuse players, just Q and run away. They get silenced, you get out. The only one who kind of countered you was Talon, because every time you would Q him, he would Q you, which also silenced you. So wasn't that great. But yeah, that was I loved this, but I wish it was more accessible. it did give you a lot more options for playing around with your builds. Yes, I did love
by
this.
default, everyone had 0. So in the early
Yeah.
fights, what would happen if you had the tiny chance to win the lottery and crit them? Well, you would essentially decide the early fights. So of course, everyone always had at least one
Nah.
1% crit rune.
Not as a mage.
Anyway, the problem
Top
with
laners,
this
sure.
was that
Bot laners,
you
sure.
needed a lot of runes to fill
Yeah,
the rune page.
this was the problem.
With one full rune page being equivalent to one champion of the highest cost. But also, you couldn't customize the page before each game started.
You
had to
also
set-
didn't have the blue essence that you could sell like champion shards for and get blue essence. Like again, the acquisition was pretty hard to do.
them up ahead of time, and then when you were picking champions, you would lock in one of the pages. By default, the game gave you 3 rune pages.
Yep.
So usually you would set up one for attack damage, one for ability power, and one for tanking. But what if you wanted to play a support who needs mana regeneration?
Fuck that guy.
Well, you had to buy an extra page, with each new page costing the value of yet another new champion, or $5. Basically, this would be equivalent to buying dual spec in WoW, except you could buy it with real money, and you needed it 5 times. So what did Riot do? Did they
I did buy the 12 room pages with money. I did do that.
lower the price to make the
They
system
actually refunded you. If I'm not mistaken, the rune pages that you bought with money, I believe it was refunded when they changed the system.
a bit more fair? No, they removed it entirely because pay to win is not what Riot does.
Yeah.
The reason why it was in the game in the first place is because it was an idea from 2009. Back then, they didn't even know how they wanted to monetize their game.
Fair enough, yeah.
So they were trying out random things. Anyway,
That's
as
fair.
you can see, even when Riot gets close to pay to win, they always steer away from it. They know how bad the impact can be. And their normal
And the thing is, it's like, short term, will they make more money? 100%. But their name gets tarnished. This is why Blizzard is suffering. Not the whole accusation, like the whole thing that happened with Blizzard, the accusation, that was just like the tip of the iceberg. The reputation of Blizzard has been going downhill since basically MOP, I would say, right? Just like what the game is, the monetization, honestly, probably since Cata, ever since they introduced the store, which was Wrath, but people were too happy with Wrath. So I would say Cata is when it really started going really downhill. And you could see it in the numbers, obviously, but the reputation itself went to shit, right? To the point where now, when people talk about Blizzard, they rarely have something nice to say, even with all the how good Dragonflight is, even with the Preach video of him visiting there. Still, in the back of your head, if you think Blizzard, you think Scums. You know, you think Bobby Kotick Yacht, you know? And that's a problem, because later on, when they're going to release a game, Diablo 4 might be good, but right now, a lot of people are doubtful because Diablo Immortal came out, right? Your name in anywhere, really, but like in this business, your name does mean a lot. It doesn't matter how good your games will be, but if people hate your company, they'll look for the quickest reason to not play your game. Like the simplest reason, be like, you know, just, it might be a great game, but you know what, fuck them. Like straight up. Same with me. I didn't want to play Dragonflight because I was like, you know what? Blizzard does not deserve my money. I did buy it, but it's because I gotta make content. But, you know.
monetization formulas are working, so why would they damage it? Now, this entire time, I pretty much talked about things that everyone else talked about as well. The 3 big factors steering the course of Riot's MMO. Number 1 being people attracted to the IP. Number 2 being monetization that is nearly guaranteed to be fair. And number 3 being the fact that Ghostcrawler mentioned that the team working on Riot's MMO is stacked. Anyway, besides these 3 points, there is also a hidden 4th one. And it's a big reason why Riot's MMO is set up for success. And I'm not joking. It's something
No, but seriously, can we get a Kassadin in this continuation, please? Thank you.
no one talked about because everyone is focused on the gameplay. But
Ooh,
I
got
strongly
slapped.
believe this one might affect how Riot's MMO rolls out. You see, League has been selling skins for 13 years now. That is 13 years of gathered data. Data which can be applied to the MMO. They know
And
what skins
not only that, that's true. They do know what skins will work best, specifically, not so much, but specifically. And in an MMO, your appearance matters way more. So, like, let's say if someone spends $100 on cosmetics in League, they would spend like $1,000 to $10,000 on cosmetics in an MMORPG if they like it just as much. Okay. Skins in an MMO, like literally the end game in an MMORPG is appearance. Like it's cosmetic. It's like fucking Barbie dollhouse, okay? That's what you're really doing in an MMORPG at the end of the game. Obviously, there's some people that just want to defeat cool, like strong, cool bosses. Yeah, we get that. But like completionism, that's where it's really at. And those guys, bro, you know.
sell and what don't. They know which aesthetics are appealing and which are not.
Fucking KDA
but most
bullshit.
importantly, they have skin lines in League that people love. And these could be ported over to the MMO.
Oh, easily.
Now, if you don't play League and you don't know what I'm talking about, let me explain. Instead of just giving random champions random skins, Riot likes to connect skins together and make them part of the same alternative world. For example, there is the High Noon alternative universe. And champions who share the same High Noon skin can be cowboys, clockwork angels, demons from the Wild West, and people corrupted by demons. They all share the same thematic, and together they make up an aesthetic that people get attached to. So what happened over the years is that Riot made skin lines that people love. And every time a new skin from that skin line is released, it is an instant success. And of course what they can do is that they can take these successful skin lines and sell them as transmog in the MMO.
Easily.
If you consider the fact
they can literally take all the successful, all the like semi-successful ones can easily transfer to the MMO. Yeah. And it's like, you don't need to waste time on designing them. They're already designed. You just have to draw them again into the MMO code.
They have 13 years of customer data about purchasing skins.
You make so much money in like the first year.
If they decide to sell premium transmog.
100%.
Because they know what transmog is gonna be popular. What's even cooler is that even though they didn't give us the exact order, Riot confirmed 5 of their most popular skin lines. So now, let me show you what might potentially appear in the in-game
No way,
shop.
you designed it?
Again, there is no particular order, but first there is the Project skin line. This one is an absolute classic. It is a futuristic skin line with energy, blades and guns, as well as some really deadly robots. Next,
not my
there is
thing.
KDA.
Ah,
the success
God.
of this skin line is driven by the popularity of their virtual K-pop band. The songs were a massive hit, and of course, these skins were too. So this one seems like easy money, though I'm not sure how my Freljordian Barbarian
find all of it annoying as fuck.
Next, there is also Darkstar. A skin
Darkstar's
line
cool.
around dark cosmic entities that are destroying worlds.
Yep.
The vast majority of these skins are stunning. And I have to point out that Darkstar Jhin is one of the best-selling skins in the history of League.
Really?
Then we also have Spirit Blossom, a skin line released with an awesome visual novel inside League of Legends. This one is themed around Eastern legends. However, this skin line is also unique, because this skin line portrays mythical stories that Ionians believe in the canon universe. So in a way, these
they're not bad,
are
it's just
canon.
whatever.
It's just that the champions are not themselves as champions, they are portraying the mythical stories. And lastly, there is the Star Guardian skin line. What originally started as
why is like 3 of these like fucking trash tier, you know? People are like, bro, there's too much uwu, there's too much of these like furries in League of Legends, man. This is where all the fairies hang out, you know? League of Legends stuff. This is where all the fairies are. Oh my god, bro. Fucking KDA. Fucking KDA is the ooh part. This
Sailor Moon knockoff eventually became its own universe with some very cool stories. The Star Guardian universe is perhaps the most popular one, with Star Guardian Jinx also being one of the best-selling skins ever. So this one would be an easy moneymaker too. But this time we have 2 male champions here. although it would still probably look weird on my barbarian. But
Yeah,
that is it for all the
probably.
things I wanted to talk about. There was one more point, however, that point kinda crumbled. You see,
Oh.
I wanted to mention that while Riot Games is running their games in the West, in the East it was ran by Garena. Which meant that
yeah.
as the West had their normal monetization, Garena could use the Eastern monetization in the East.
Yeah,
and
but
the
they,
two basically had their own ecosystems. However, a few weeks ago, Riot just cut off Garena entirely, and they decided to operate League of Legends in the East themselves. What's funny is that Blizzard kinda tried to do the same thing, but Blizzard is not able to run their own games in the East. So while they also cut off their own Chinese publisher,
They
because
cut
they
off
can't publish
China
it
as well.
themselves, WoW is just gone. Anyway,
Yeah.
what I wanted to mention originally is that because there is the West
Which might solve the problem with Chinese gold farmers, but
and East, because in the East players are more friendly towards pay to win, Riot can now operate two different ecosystems themselves. And so, even though I'm not really sure if this still holds up because they are no longer ran by Garena in the East, I still believe that Riot can run separate monetization in separate regions, because now they are controlling everything themselves. So who knows, maybe there will be pay to win, but that pay to win will
Aaliyah's
only
face looks
be
so
in
weird.
the East. I believe that's how Lost Ark is being handled, but I could be wrong. Maybe the chances are the same everywhere. Anyway, Riot's MMO
Pantheon.
seems to be shaping up really well. That is
Yeah.
probably because the people behind this seem to know what they are doing. Their player base is ready to try out any
forget that they know what they're doing, which is a good thing. They seemed like they care about what they're doing, which is more than I can say about the WoW development team.
anything, and should we actually get a good game, their monetization is ready to shoot it up into the stratosphere. There was also that time they were trying to sell achievements, like not
Yeah.
achievement unlocks. You had to pay to access achievements,
Yeah,
which was then
yeah.
followed by a separate version of the achievements which was totally free, so we don't talk about that.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. Cool. As always, Necrit brings in really, really good videos. Again, overall, like I said, this is it set up for success? Yes, still, like, you know, in 20 years we'll find out if it is successful, but if the game releases. But yeah, I cannot complain about you. You make a lot of people get interested in LOL's lore and give them ideas for their biggest project yet, even the rents to give voice to our complaints. As a LOL veteran who plays League casually, the more Necrit talks about the MMO, the more I'm hyped. Thank you. After 2 years of production, Arcane was cancelled by the higher-ups because the story wasn't good enough. So they threw more money at it. The writers started over from the beginning, and 4 years there, we got a masterpiece of a series. I mean, I don't really like Arcane, but whatever. As a show, it's good. I just don't care about anyone in it. Side note, from my perspective as a League player that cares about the universe, that part of the universe I didn't care about. Side note, this temporary pause is in production is also the reason Fortish had time to create KDA's KDA currently sitting at a casual 500 million views. People are weird. Now how the entire reason Riot exists is just to say, what if this game but better? Yeah, basically what Blizzard used to be. But yeah. See in 10 years when the MMO actually comes out. Yeah, these videos to fill the gap are still managed to be really high quality and interesting to watch somehow. Great work, Necrit, my man. Yeah, so straight up, honestly, fantastic video. And that would be it for this reaction. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.